A few years ago, I used to be able to pick up rolls of film for a few quid. Now you have to have 3 side hustles just to pick up a brick of Portra 400. So I thought, this begs the question, what's the difference between Kodak Portra 400 and Kodak Ultramax 400? I uploaded both of these into some Olympus Mu 1s and took the exact same photos with them just to find out. First off, what's the difference in price? Well, Kodak Ultramax 400 you can get for about 10 quid a roll. Now, that is not too bad in this kind of recession hell that we're living through, but it's not amazing. On the other hand, Kodak Portra 400 is like 20 quid a roll. So double the price, pretty crazy. As I took some basic shots, it became really clear what one of the main differences is: exposure latitude. This is basically how much you can under or overexpose a picture or a roll of film and still get acceptable results. Now, Ultramax 400 has okay exposure latitude, but not great. On the other hand, Kodak Portra 400 has really good exposure latitude. If you look out for it, you can see on the Portra 400, it's much flatter and there's a better dynamic range. Whereas on the Ultramax 400, there's a lot more contrast. It's very visible that you're not getting the information from some of the shadow and things like that. This is one of the big reasons why Kodak Portra 400 is seen as such a professional stock. You get a lot of your information back from the highlights and from the shadows. It means you're less likely to get an underexposed picture or an overexposed picture, and your picture looks generally a lot softer. Next up, Kodak Ultramax 400 tends to be a lot more saturated than Portra 400. Now, I don't think I've really shown this a lot on these pictures, but it is something that is quite well known about Ultramax 400. Again, I don't really have a picture that shows this because I'm an idiot, but Kodak Portra 400 and Ultramax 400 both have pretty good skin tones. Now, that's a generalization. Obviously, skin tones vary so much, but once again, Portra has such good exposure latitude and very fine grain that in terms of taking pictures of people, I wouldn't pick Ultramax 400 over Portra 400 any day. And well, let's talk about grain. Ultramax has pretty big, harsh grain, whereas Portra 400 has really fine grain. Despite these being the same ISO, Portra 400 has a very clear, fine grain. This is just one of those things about Portra. It's got super fine grain, and the difference is very, very noticeable. In a sense, Portra 400 is less identifiable as a film stock because it's made to be edited. It's kind of made to be flat and have nothing that overwhelms or overbears the picture. It's not a big yellow hue or crazy contrast or anything like that. It's just a flat image that is there to be edited and to be made to look how you want it to look. So as you can see with these two film stocks, there's some pretty dramatic differences between exposure latitude, grain, color and saturation, some really important things that have some massive differences. Now, this might lead you to think that Ultramax is bad because of these differences, but that's not the case. We're comparing one of the best film stocks available and the most expensive near enough to what is a budget film stock. So I guess the question is more, what are these film stocks best for? I would say the Ultramax is best for travel and day-to-day photography. And I'm not saying you couldn't use it for other things. Of course you could use it for street photography and portrait photography, whatever you want to do. It just isn't the best for it, and I've shown why. Whereas Portra 400 is more catered towards portrait photography or street photography, documentary photography, editorial photography, because it's just so good. Ultimately, it really is down to what can you afford, what do you actually want to achieve, what kind of photography are you doing, and how much does it matter to you that it looks really high quality. Those things should determine whether you decide to use one or the other. And I've been shooting Ultramax for a little while and I quite like it, but I know that it's not perfect. You don't need to listen to me though. Go and do what you want to do. I really don't care. I also don't care if you like and subscribe or if you watch this next video. It just makes no difference to me whatsoever.